I think that was the story of that match against Toluca, that while Toluca was the one running the show and created the most chances, most clear-cut, dangerous chances, the Rapids were the ones who were the most opportunistic.
It's such an interesting competition because it's different than league play, right? The regular season. But we could sit here and talk a lot about the quality that Toluca were. We talk about no holes. Every player that stepped on the field for Toluca can attack and can defend. And I'm talking about all the way back to the goalkeeper. This guy can attack. You've seen his penalty kick against Houston. My goodness. It's one of the best penalty kicks I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. But to me, it shows how impressive the victory is for the Rapids being themselves, right? And you could, I don't know if you were at the game, if you could tell from the broadcast, but Chris Armas and his staff worked harder, discussed more things. I was looking down at him during the second half of that game, just asking questions. You could just tell it was like, man, like we're pinned in, but it's not like Toluca were just launching shots and yeah, they hit the crossbar early in the game. They hit the post late in the first half. They had some good looks, but they dominated possession. They put the Rapids in some uncomfortable positions. But the Rapids continue to just to be themselves, right? And to figure things out. And you could tell, Chris, it was like, does he need to make a formational change? Does he need to make a personnel change? Does he need to make a tactical change? And I think at the end of the day, it was just a few small tweaks here and there, but let the guys suffer. Let the guys kind of figure it out on the field. Don't make these huge changes that maybe we hadn't trained it. Maybe we weren't ready for it. Do we go with the back five? No, we went with the back five towards the end of the Salt Lake game in Salt Lake at the end of May, and that didn't work out well. And so I was just so impressed with, you can see then with 10 minutes to go, you can fold. You can say, man, like, let's just try to get it to penalty kicks, And that was not this team's mentality. They're like, no, we're going to continue to try to press, to try to hit in transition. Chris Armas still brought Darren Yappy and Kamani Stewart-Baines on after they tied it up, right? And it's like, those two were instrumental in what ended up being the game-winning goal. So he ends up making the right tweaks and making the right changes. And at the end of the night, it's just everybody was worn out because you beat a really, really quality side, and you did it by playing your game. You suffered through a lot, and now what are you rewarded with? Club América, the number one team, the number one seed in the tournament. I'm so impressed with this side right now. And I know I just said a lot, but I'm so impressed with this side
I did
right
too.
now.
I was kind of rambling a little bit. Yeah. I started to realize because I had to toss to you at some point, but. For me, again, Toluca was the one that was running the show more often than not for this match against the Rapids. But Chris Armas spoke to this post-game in terms of the guys just like learning to, knowing how to suffer. Like, it's not ideal. Ideally, you want to be on the ball and creating dangerous opportunities, possess and tire out the other team, especially with us being, Toluca is at a higher altitude rather compared to Rep. So that's irrelevant in this case.
A lot higher, actually.
Yeah, a lot higher. So that was irrelevant in this case. But in the end, you want to be on the ball. You want to be the one that's controlling the game with the ball and not running around and defending the whole time, where the Rapids kind of had to do that for quite a while. But they were the most opportunistic, despite not playing the game exactly how they wanted to. Between the mentality, between the quality, between how opportunistic this team is, and just the never say die attitude, it just always almost felt like this team was always going to find a way to get the result that they needed.
You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. You really do. And this team has faced some adversity this season, right? You go on the road to Miami, and Lionel Messi comes on at halftime when you have a 1-0 lead, and 15 minutes later it's 2-1, and he's instrumental in both goals, right? But you find the game-tying goal at the end of the game. You fall behind twice here against LAFC, and you find a way to win that game. It's and that's just a couple of examples. Club Leon, right? Just a week and a half ago.
At the death.
And this team has faced adversity, but they continue to have this belief and this confidence that just be who we are. Don't let the moment get too big. And too many times I feel like teams, you fall behind, you feel uncomfortable, you try to stretch yourself, do too much, do something that you're not familiar with, and you get punished. And then one goal turns into two, turns into three, right? That's not this team. That the confidence and I keep saying this word, the self-belief is such a powerful thing.